The burning crystal at the heart of this isle has long fueled the arcane experiments of the Blood Elves for generations. However, the recent Scourge invasion has wrought havoc upon its delicate equilibrium, casting a shadow of imbalance over the natural life of the island. The once harmonious energies now seethe with discord, threatening to unravel the very fabric of this enchanted land. Sarephine, a young and determined blood elf, is trying to master the volatile energies of the burning crystal and restore harmony to the creatures of this beleaguered isle. She released a short burst of energy towards the burning crystal, but her incomplete training left the crystal unchanged, and she fell to the ground in frustration. Determined, she stood up, brushed herself off, and began walking towards Magistrix Erona. Erona observed her approach with a critical eye, her expression stern and unyielding. Without moving from her place, she addressed Sarephine with a sharp tone.
The sooner you begin your education, Sarephine, the better for us all. There is little room for error, so listen closely.
Yes, Magistrix. I am ready to learn and won't let you down.
The burning crystals, the green floating objects to the west of the Sunspire, have long powered the Isle's experimentations. The mana worms were their guardians, but the Scourge invasion has driven them errant due to our lack of magic control.
Driven errant? I'm not sure I understand, Magistrix. What should I do?
There is little choice but to thin their numbers for reclamation. Do this, then return to me.
Understood. I will do what must be done, though it pains me to harm them.
Sarephine left Magistrix Erona with a heavy heart, her mind filled with the task at hand. She made her way to the western edge of the Sunspire, where the green floating burning crystals shimmered ominously. The mana worms, once guardians of these crystals, now roamed erratically, their harmony shattered by the Scourge invasion. Drawing upon her frost training, Sarephine summoned her magic, her hands glowing with energy. She hesitated, looking into the eyes of the nearest worm. It seemed to recognize her, its once gentle demeanor replaced by confusion and aggression. With a deep breath, she cast her first spell, striking the worm down. Each kill weighed heavily on her soul, but she pressed on, knowing the task was necessary for the reclamation of their isle. The worms fell one by one, their numbers thinning as her magic flowed. When the last worm lay still, Sarephine stood amidst the fallen creatures, her heart aching but her resolve unbroken. With the task complete, she turned back towards the Sunspire, ready to report to Magistrix Erona and continue her duty to restore balance to the Isle.
Magistrix Erona. The task is complete. The mana worms have been dealt with, though it was no easy feat. I hope this will aid in our reclamation efforts.
You have successfully completed your first task. For that, you are to be congratulated.
Thank you, Magistrix.
Such success gives me faith that you will turn out better than those young blood elves who fail to heed the lessons of their master. Continued success will be rewarded, not only with knowledge but also with tangible rewards.
I will strive to continue proving myself.
Your work here, however, is not finished. There is much more to learn, my young friend.
What is the next task, Magistrix?
Your effort has made something clear that, honestly, I wish were not true. The unchecked power of the burning crystals has maligned a much larger swath of the Isle's natural balance than I thought. We must now take on more unfortunate measures to reclaim control.
What measures are needed?
The nearby lynxes have succumbed to the influence of the crystals, and they must be put down. Bring their collars, Sarephine, as I may yet be able to fashion a magical restraint to turn some back from being uncontrolled.
I understand, Magistrix. I will do what is necessary.
Sarephine left Magistrix Erona's presence, her heart burdened by the new task. The thought of killing the lynxes, once majestic and peaceful creatures of the Isle, filled her with a deep sorrow. As she walked towards the area where the lynxes roamed, she couldn't help but recall the time she had admired their grace and beauty from afar. The influence of the burning crystals had twisted these innocent creatures, turning them into aggressive shadows of their former selves. Sarephine knew that this was a necessary step to restore balance, but the weight of her actions pressed heavily on her spirit. She reached the outskirts of the affected area and spotted the first lynx. Its eyes, once bright and intelligent, were now clouded with the malevolent energy of the crystals. Taking a deep breath, Sarephine summoned her frost powers, her hands trembling slightly as she prepared to cast the spell. With a swift, decisive motion, she released the energy, striking the lynx down. Each lynx she encountered was a painful reminder of the cost of their struggle for reclamation. She whispered a quiet apology with every creature she felled, her resolve unwavering but her heart aching. After collecting the collars from the fallen lynxes, Sarephine stood for a moment in the quiet aftermath. The forest around her seemed to mourn the loss of its guardians. With a heavy heart and a somber expression, she turned back towards the sunspire, knowing that the path to restoring balance was fraught with such painful choices.
Magistrix Erona, I have returned with the collars. The task is complete, though it was difficult to see such noble creatures brought low by the crystal's influence.
The tower and surrounding areas should now be relatively secure, though only for the time being. You have done well in providing us with a buffer of security.
Thank you, Magistrix. I'm glad I could help.
But we will need to reassert control over the entire Isle if we are to survive here in the long run. This will involve tackling much greater threats than errant mana worms and lynxes.
What kind of threats are we talking about?
You'll find out soon enough. Take this, Sarephine. You will no doubt make good use of it for the tasks to come.
Thank you, Magistrix. I will use it well.
You are to report to my assistant, Lanthan Perilon. He will instruct you on what needs to be done next. While we here at the Sunspire will continue to rein in the burning crystals, you will be focused on a more pressing matter concerning Felendren Academy. Lanthan will explain fully when you speak to him.
Where can I find him, Magistrix?
Simply walk west of here along the path, and you should see him standing close by.
Understood. I'll head there immediately.
Good luck, Sarephine. Your continued successes shall be rewarded.
Thank you, Magistrix. I won't let you down.
Sarephine gave a respectful nod to Magistrix Erona and turned towards the western path. The weight of the tasks ahead pressed on her shoulders, but she knew she was ready to face them. The night sky was clear and filled with stars, casting a gentle, shimmering light over the sunspire as she walked, her mind focused on the pressing matter concerning Felendren Academy. Sarephine knew that each step brought her closer to fulfilling her duty and proving her worth. The cool night air was filled with a sense of urgency and determination as she headed west to find Lanthan Perilon.
Magistrix Erona told me you'd be along quick enough, Sarephine.
Yes, Lanthan. What is the task?
The Felendren Academy to our west, the huge floating building with the ornate spires, is in bad shape. You're going to be leading the effort to recapture it from one of the Wretched, a blood elf who has forever succumbed to their basest cravings.
I understand. I'm ready to do what's necessary.
I hope you're ready to work. This is not only going to be a lesson about danger, but also of what happens when you forsake the realities of who you are.
I'm prepared, Lanthan. I won't let you down.
Before sending you to the academy, I want you on another task that needs to be dealt with immediately. Once used to aid us in the gardening of Sunstrider Isle, the bestial tenders now have grown out of our control.
What do you need me to do?
Clear them out with due haste, but be warned, their lack of control has made them aggressive. It is such aggression that forces us to put down these once gentle servants.
I understand. It's unfortunate, but I'll handle it.
It doesn't please me to ask you to do such a task, but survival is survival. I'll mourn later.
I'll see it done, Lanthan. Survival comes first.
With a heavy heart, Sarephine nodded to Lanthan and set off towards the garden area of Sunstrider Isle. The night was calm, the stars providing a serene contrast to the turmoil in her mind. She knew the task ahead would be difficult, but it was necessary for their survival. As she approached the once peaceful tenders, now turned aggressive, she steeled herself for the battle to come. Sarephine raised her hands, summoning the icy power of her frost magic. Her breath visible in the chill she created, she cast her first spell. The tenders, caught in the freezing blast, slowed and then stopped. Saraphine's heart ached with each one she felled. These creatures had once been gentle helpers, aiding in the lush growth of the gardens. Now, they were driven by uncontrollable aggression, a shadow of their former selves. Each time she unleashed her frost magic, she felt a pang of sorrow. The tenders' growls and snarls turned to silence as they succumbed to the cold. Saraphine's resolve remained firm, but the sadness in her eyes betrayed her true feelings. With the garden now silent and the once gentle tenders laid to rest, Sarephine turned back towards the sunspire. The stars overhead twinkled in the clear night sky, offering a fleeting sense of solace. Each step she took felt heavier than the last, the weight of her actions pressing down on her heart. The cool night air did little to soothe the turmoil within her as she approached Lanthan.
Lanthan, the task is done. The tenders have been put to rest.
I know it was not easy, Sarephine. Your efforts are appreciated.
It was difficult, but I understand the necessity. What is the next task?
Your next task is to reclaim the Felendren Academy. Be prepared, Sarephine. The challenges ahead are even greater.
I understand, Lanthan. I will face whatever comes next with the same determination.
A betrayer of our people resides atop Felendren Academy to the southwest.
Who is this betrayer?
Felendren is his name. He was banished from Blood Elf lands for failing to heed the warnings of our teachers and elders.
Why was he banished?
He is the worst of our society, as he lives only to feed his insatiable magical addictions. He refused to learn control. He is a shell of his former self, one of the Wretched, and he is a threat to the Sunspire.
What must I do?
Destroy him and the wraiths he uses as minions.
I will see it done, Lanthan. Felendren and his minions will be dealt with.
With Lanthan's instructions clear in her mind, Sarephine set off towards Felendren Academy, her resolve steeled for the battle ahead. The path was fraught with danger, but she moved with purpose. Upon reaching the academy, Sarephine encountered Felendren's wraiths first. These spectral minions, twisted by dark magic, lunged at her with a malevolent fury. Drawing upon her magical powers, Sarephine unleashed a flurry of frost spells, freezing the wraiths in their tracks before shattering them into icy fragments. Each wraith she destroyed brought her one step closer to her ultimate target. The halls of the academy echoed with the sounds of her magic and the wraiths' anguished cries. Sarephine's determination never wavered as she methodically cleared the way, her heart set on confronting Felendren. Finally, she ascended to the top of the academy, where Felendren awaited. He was a shadow of his former self, consumed by his insatiable magical cravings. The battle was fierce, with Felendren hurling dark spells in a desperate bid to maintain his hold. But Sarephine's training and resolve proved superior. With a final powerful burst of frost magic, Sarephine brought Felendren to his knees. As he collapsed, defeated, she felt a mix of triumph and sorrow. The threat to the Sunspire was neutralized, but at a great cost. She knew this was just one victory in a larger struggle to restore balance and control to their land. With Felendren defeated and his wraiths vanquished, Sarephine made her way back to the Sunspire. The stars still shone brightly overhead, their light offering a silent testament to her victory. As she walked, the weight of her actions settled heavily on her shoulders. Approaching the Sunspire, she saw Lanthan waiting. Sarephine straightened, her weariness hidden behind a mask of determination.
Lanthan, Felendren is defeated. Here's his head as proof.
Felendren's head. You are to be commended, Sarephine. You've succeeded where others, like Felendren, have utterly failed. Perhaps you are truly ready to be a contributing member of Blood Elf Society.
Thank you, Lanthan. What does this mean for me now?
Your success here means that you are capable of surviving the greater threats that lurk in Eversong. And believe me, there are plenty to face.
I understand. I'm ready for whatever comes next.
Magistrix Erona wanted you to head over to Silvermoon City in order to aid our reclamation efforts there. That is, once you had successfully addressed the situation at Felendren Academy. You did not disappoint us, Sarephine.
Thank you, Lanthan. What's my next step?
On your way to Falconwing Square, south of here, you should speak with Outrunner Alarian. She's not far from the bridge.
What does Outrunner Alarian need?
The Outrunners take care of shuttling goods between here and the mainland, and since you've proven to be so resourceful, they could use your assistance.
I understand. I'll head to Falconwing Square and speak with her immediately.
With Lanthan's instructions clear, Sarephine set off towards Falconwing Square. The path southward was familiar, but the weight of her recent battles and the anticipation of new challenges filled her with a renewed sense of purpose. The stars continued to shine brightly overhead, guiding her steps as she made her way to meet Outrunner Alarian and offer her assistance. Sarephine knew that each task brought her closer to restoring balance and reclaiming their homeland.